Hey, it's Dr. Rowe. Hope you're well. I wanted to share something with you that's a little bit more personal, but at the same time professional. It's linked to business. I don't know if you recognize this image behind me, not even recognize the photograph so much, but the feeling associated with the image, possibly in your own life, in your own relationship, either on one specific occasion, on several. I'm going to narrow this down because it's such a big topic, and it's really driven by the fact that I've been doing quite a few events recently with 100, 120, 130 people that are sat listening, wanting to learn and develop a business, specifically property investing. And in many cases, they're driven, as a couple, they've really got a passion towards doing something together, and they both see that this is a solution that can provide financial security, for example, in the future. And so they're aligned. But at the same time, there are couples that aren't aligned, and there's a conflict. Either, the husband wants to do this and his wife doesn't, or his wife wants to do it and he doesn't. It can be a combination of either of those. And it's not unusual to come across this. If I get 100, 120, 140 people in front of me, there's likely to be somewhere in the region of 8, 10, 12 couples that may be in conflict. It might even be that one of them's absolutely totally focused and wants to make it happen and kind of wanted to sit and learn this, whereas the other came along and they felt like they were dragged there. And when those situations happen, it's very hard for, say, for example, in this case it might be the wife that's really wants to do this, but the husband's like, why have you even got me watching this? I don't want to do this stuff. So it's a massive conflict for a lot of couples, because the big question is, well, if we don't do this, what are we going to do? So if you're watching this and you've got concerns, the first question I'm going to ask you is, have you had a chance to watch? I do a 75-minute, roughly 75-minute presentation. It's a free presentation, and it kind of goes through the key elements of property investing. And if you haven't watched that, you should go and watch it together. It's an hour and a quarter. I'm sure most of you watch TV of some sort. So it might help to watch it, because what if one of you is not quite sure what's involved, or what does this mean to build a property business, for example? At least if you watch it, you get some idea, give you a nice simple structure to understand. And it might help the person that's not so positive come on board and go, okay, I get this, I understand how this works now, and I see what you want to do. I'll support you through that. But that said, I've got 4 things, if I can pull them up on the screen here. Where are they? Here we go. Is that going to work? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to blow this up just a little bit so it's bigger for you. Hopefully you can see that. So I've got 4 questions you might want to consider. And if you're watching this and you are butting heads, it's okay to butt heads, because you're 2 different people. You've got 2 sets of values, 2 sets of different aspirations, and maybe the way you see the world, or specifically this part of the world, property business or business in general, is different to the other person. But you may have common aspirations, and that's what I want to find out really as I'm recording this. What are your common aspirations? What would you say are the things that you both, when you first met, you talked about, when you first courted each other, when you first fell in love, when you had those passionate walks out along the beachfront or on a mountain or in a cafe together, when you first looked into each other's eyes and you had that real buzz about what the future could hold? What were those aspirations? Now, you might say to me, yeah, but Ro, that was 15 years ago, that was 10 years ago. We've got 2 kids now, and one of us has been made redundant. I understand all of those things, because I've been through the journey of ups and downs. I've got my own children. I've had my conflicts with my partner, and I have had those experiences on many occasions, and worked with countless couples that have gone through the same thing. And actually, the reality is that although life has changed and the way you are together has changed, you're still 2 human beings with aspirations. And it's quite worrying when people forget to bring back those aspirations. Now, they may have changed. So what you originally wanted may have changed, agreed. But now it's time to press the reset button and say, okay, as we sit here now, whatever time it is, as I'm recording this, it's 2021, but you might be watching this in 2 or 3, 4, 5 years from now, whatever. What are your aspirations as a couple? Where do you want to travel? What experiences do you want to have together? If you've got kids, what experiences do you want to have with the kids? And don't think, oh, yeah, but you don't understand because I've got a job and I can't do that. I want you to imagine if you didn't have a job, if you were financially secure, financially independent, whatever you want to use the phrase, where would you travel? What would you do? What would you do together? You may have, I've helped couples, some good friends of mine just recently, last year, They got financially free probably 2.5 years ago from coming through and developing a property business. And when I first taught them, they were like, oh my gosh, can we do this? And I remember getting a message from the lovely lady, the wife, and she was like, guess where I am? I'm over in Portugal on a juice cleanse for a week. And she'd just taken the time off because they had the financial independence to be able to do that. So what would you do separately to have some fun? Just to go and have your own aspirational things, but what would you do together? Because if you can find those common aspirations to start with, that brings your compass back into your line of sight. That's very important. Then you ask yourself the question, what are the options we've got? We're looking at property, or maybe he is or she is, and he or she wants to do it, but the other one's maybe a bit reluctant. What real estate can do as a passive income, for example, can create the opportunity to do those things. It gives you a monthly income. It gives you the choice to step back from your job, maybe fully or partly. It allows you to have longer holidays and choose to go where you want to go, when you want to go. So it gives you that. If it's not real estate, if it's not property, then what are your other choices? That's the conversation you need to be having as a couple. Honey, look, and don't go, yeah, what are our other choices? You need to go, okay, well, we've got real estate and this is what it can do for us. This is why I think you should go watch the video that I created, because what the video does, it gives you a very practical look at it. It goes through 8 different stages, but it also gives you a sense of what's achievable practically. It's not over hyped or anything. It's a real sensible look at what can be done. And you go, all right, honey, we can get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,000 pound a month or whatever it is we want from our property business. We could do an online business. I'm not really aspiring to do that. How long is it going to take us? And what could we do there? We could trade the stock market. That's an option. It's more of an active income. That could be something you could do. You could go work longer hours. That's an option. But for most people, it's like, really, do I want to do more hours? And even if you do more hours, you're limited to how many hours you've got in a day. So it's really looking at different options. And if you feel right now there is no other option at the moment, but I see this as a really tangible asset-based income, we can do it together, we can have similar focus, we can go and buy assets that create long-term wealth for our kids as well, then at least understand what your partner wants to do and support them in that. And that's number 3 there. So first of all, got to look at the options and be sensible about saying, well, we could give this other thing a go, but is it going to really work for us? I think the great thing with property is there's multiple strategies. You've got passive income strategies, you've got more creative strategies, you've got cash generating strategies for you as well. You can structure it in a tax efficient way. There's lots of clever things you can do there, but you do have to have the conversation about the options. So number 3 is then are you going to support me? So okay, let's agree that I'm going to do this, but your partner doesn't want to do it. Instead of beating them up and getting angry and getting frustrated, just simply say, honey, I know you love me and I love you. Will you at least support me morally? I'll spend a certain number of hours a week building this as a business. Would you just at least maybe encourage me and support me? Let me put the time in and put the work in. I'll do the work. I just need your support. Or it could be that they want to come on board and fully get involved. But what you're looking for as a minimum is at least their moral support. And if you're watching this and you're not really interested in doing it, but your partner does, at least offer them that. They've made a decision. I mean, you've got a partner that wants to do something. I come across so many people where, I don't know, I've got a wife on an event and a husband sat there filling his face in front of the TV watching soccer, doesn't want to do anything, has no aspirations whatsoever. So at least, it might be that you're watching this and you've got a partner that wants to do it, but you don't particularly want to do it. At least they're aspirational. Tuck into that. Be thankful that you've got that, because so many couples break up because one person's just got no aspiration whatsoever, and that's challenging because they want to grow, but the other, one person wants to grow, but the other person doesn't want to grow. So it's important to find that common ground, that center of gravity between the two of you. And the 4th question I've got here on the screen is, what are the consequences if you don't? You just carry on doing what you're doing. If you're pissed off right now, if you're tired and feeling like, oh God, do I really want to carry on doing this? My life, then if you just project your life in 10 years time doing exactly the same thing, in other words, no changes, you're going to get to this destination here, you're going to hit that point there. So only by changing a 1 degree here will you actually end up in a completely different place in your life. And that's the challenge, is most people aren't prepared to put the time in, the effort in, to make that 1 degree change. So you've really got to do this. Look at the consequences and say, my God, if we don't, this is what's going to happen. So let's make a change now. Now, look, the best thing to do is go and watch the video. It's like 75 minutes. At least it gives you some inspiration and some tools, and maybe gives you some common conversations to have. I think I've got the link somewhere down below. It's Dr. O signing out. Hopefully that was useful. I shall see you on my next live.